Gambit's death on Genosha was already one of the most gutting moments in X-Men 97, but X-Men 97 Season 2 just found a way to make it worse. Gambit is loved for his deep loyalty to the people in his life, sometimes even to a fault. That is why this move by the writers is in the right direction to make an awesome show even better. Let's start with how this actually happens. Apocalypse doesn't just wave a hand and bring Gambit back. He uses a combination of dark machinery and ritualistic magic to reanimate Remy's remains, and the transformation reaches right into the character's own signature power. Gambit's charged playing cards, always his most iconic visual, get twisted into something closer to corrupted tarot symbols, creeping, enveloping imagery that wraps around his body as part of the ritual itself. It's a genuinely unsettling design choice, because it takes the thing that made Gambit feel warm and charming, his flair, his cards, his style, and repurposes all of it into the imagery of his own corruption. Nothing about this resurrection is meant to feel triumphant. It's built to feel like a violation. Here's what makes this hit so hard emotionally. Remy died before he ever got the chance to fully know Rogue truly loved him. His death on Genosha was already tragic on its own, a hero sacrificing himself in the middle of unimaginable loss. Bringing him back now hollowed out and weaponized isn't just cruelty for its own sake, it's precision-targeted psychological warfare. Apocalypse isn't reviving Gambit because he needs another soldier. He's doing it because turning a beloved hero into a mindless engine of destruction is one of the most efficient ways imaginable to break the emotional core of the X-Men, and Rogue specifically. Every bit of warmth Remy carried, his charm, his humanity, gets stripped out and replaced with something cold and brutal, and that transformation is the whole point. This isn't about brute military advantage, it's about making sure the people who loved Remy the most have to watch him used against them. Naturally, this has ignited a huge conversation among fans about what a believable path back looks like. The general consensus circulating among comic readers is that Gambit shouldn't just snap back to his old self the moment he's freed from Apocalypse's control. A resurrection this violating, layered on top of the trauma of dying in the first place, should come with real psychological wreckage, deep self-doubt, guilt, and a recovery arc that takes real time to play out rather than resolving in a single episode. Given how much narrative weight the show has already put into Remy's sacrifice, the creative team has clearly signaled that his story isn't over. The real question isn't whether he comes back to himself, it's how much of that recovery the show is willing to actually sit with. Now let's talk about power level, because Horseman of Death sounds like the most terrifying role Apocalypse can hand out. And while it's historically one of the deadliest, it's not automatically the strongest. When you look across the wider history of Apocalypse's Horsemen in Marvel Comics, take Sentry, who was resurrected as Death by the Apocalypse twins in the comics. This is a character wielding power on the scale of a million exploding suns, someone who stopped Thor's own hammer with his bare hands. Or look at the Hulk, empowered as war with actual celestial technology layered on top of his already limitless strength, to the point where he casually overpowered characters like Juggernaut and the Absorbing Man. Storm, in various alternate timelines as famine or pestilence, has shown the ability to manipulate planetary weather on a scale that borders on apocalyptic in the literal sense. And then there's Holocaust, Apocalypse's own son from the Age of Apocalypse timeline, a being of pure bionuclear energy, strong enough to trade blows with a fully unrestrained Cable. Compared to that list, Gambit doesn't win on raw output. He's not cracking planets or absorbing cosmic technology, but that's exactly what makes his version of death so unsettling in a different way. Apocalypse's genetic augmentations don't just make Gambit stronger, they make him surgical. His kinetic charging ability, once limited to making objects explode, now lets his cards decay and rot anything they touch, organic or inorganic, on contact. His body can transmute the very air around a target into poison, filling someone's lungs with toxic gas before they even realize what's happening. And his natural hypnotic charm, once just a charismatic edge, becomes an outright corruption ability, capable of twisting minds, appearances, and even souls, turning entire groups of enemies into loyal thralls. None of that is about overwhelming force. It's about infiltration, corruption, and dismantling a team from the inside out, which, given who Apocalypse turned him into a weapon against, might be exactly the point. Gambit was never meant to be the strongest horseman. He was built to be the one who could get closest before anyone realized how much damage had already been done. That's the real horror of this storyline. Apocalypse didn't need the strongest horseman. He needed the one who could hurt the X-Men the most, and there was no better choice than a hero they'd already grieved once. Let me know in the comments how you think the X-Men bring Remy back, and subscribe for more breakdowns as this storyline keeps unfolding.